Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another video. It's that time. I'm going to do our college football picks and predictions. The games that we're going to be taking a look at is our non-top 25 college football matchups. We're going to break these games down and try to predict the outcome, the winner, loser, the final score. We'll also take a look at the best bets, the money lines, the spreads, the over-unders. This is our non-top 25 games. If you want the top 25, make sure to check out my video that came out 2 days ago. Like I said, this is the non-top 25 games. First things first, though, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Drop your comments down below. Who do you think is going to win these matchups? If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, check out that pinned comment down below. Click on that link. You can sign up there, and I would definitely appreciate it. Let's jump right into it. Our very first game is actually a Thursday night matchup, 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. The 3-2 East Carolina Panthers, ECU, versus 4-1, the Tulane Green Wave. Tulane, 57.1% chance to win. The Pirates, a 42.9% chance. Tulane here, 6.5-point favorites, 43.5 over/under. The Green Wave, they have been rolling this season. Don't forget, they've been getting plucked constantly the last couple seasons through the transfer portal, yet they continue to rebuild the roster, and they continue to win. Right now, ECU, they're averaging 30.4 points a game. Throwing for 315, running for 141, giving up 13.4 points a game. Solid defense so far for the Pirates, but they haven't had tough schedule. The most difficult team they played was BYU, and BYU put a shellacking on them. Tulane, their sole loss was to Ole Miss, who is currently in the top 5. Tulane's averaging 26.2 points a game, throwing for 188.6, running for 205.8, giving up 24 points per game. They're led by Retzlaff. He's the guy who left BYU, was their starting quarterback, had a great season last year, coming over here, throwing it, running it, almost 900 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. They got to be a little more successful passing the ball, but they are finding success on the ground, running for 205.8 every single game. Retzlaff himself closing it on 400 yards rushing with 7 touchdowns. If they can control the ground game, they'll control time of possession. They'll control the game clock. Give me Tulane winning this one, 28-24. We'll now move over to the Big Ten, our Friday night game at 9 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. The 3-2 Rutgers Scarlet Knights, Greg Schiano's team, usually very disciplined. How about their offense this season? This is a unlike Greg Schiano type of offense. They're throwing the ball successfully, pushing the ball down the field. Defense, very questionable this season. Usually that's their strong point, and they love to run the ball. They've gotten away from that so far this season, but so far they are 3-2. They are on the road versus the 4-1 Washington Huskies. Do not underestimate the Huskies. They were in that game versus the Ducks, lost its second half, but this is a team very competitive, very hard to beat at home. Right now, Washington 75.8% chance to win. Rutgers at 24.2. Jeff Fish team here, they are 10.5-point favorites, 59.5 over/under. Rutgers and Greg Schiano, like I said, slinging the ball up and down the field, they're averaging 39 points a game. Throwing for 293.6, running for 140.4, giving up 25.4 points a game. Usually they actually have a top 25 defense every single season. Not so much so far this year. Washington, 39.4 points a game. Throwing for 255.2, running for 191.2, almost 500 yards of offense every single game. This team, very balanced, very consistent on the offensive side, and they have a solid defense, giving up 19.8 points a game, only 78.4 on the ground. Washington's goal, suffocate the Rutgers run game, put them in the third and long situations, but Rutgers can throw the ball. Calamanis right now, almost 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks. You never see those passing numbers from a Rutgers team. Raymond at the running back position, closing on 500 yards rushing. Duff closing in on 450 yards receiving. And on the other side, you have Williams Jr. for Washington. This guy can do a little bit of everything. Dual threat quarterback, closing on 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Coleman closing in on 500 yards. Boston closing in on 400 yards. Very talented, very balanced offense. They are at home. They want to keep that new winning streak going now that they've lost to Oregon. They win this one 38-24. And our Saturday game at 12 p.m. on the Big Ten Network will be staying in the Big Ten. 1-4 UCLA, the upset of the year last week, beating top 10 Penn State. Not just beating them, completely getting them kicked out of the top 25. They won their first game of the season. They had not had a lead in any game for not 1 second this entire season, and they led the entire game last week. Can they keep that momentum going? Can Neuheisel, as the interim coach, the offense coordinator here, keep everyone's mind focused on the win here on the next game? And they'll be playing 3-2 Michigan State Spartans. Michigan, 76.5% chance to win. The Bruins, a 23.5% chance. Michigan's also 8.5-point favorites. 55.5 over/under Bruins. Their offense has been atrocious this entire season. Yes, they showed up last week. I don't know where that came from, but it was a fun thing to watch. Their defense has been atrocious. Their defense didn't play well second half of last week, but the offense was outscoring Penn State. Great thing. UCLA, 19.8 points a game. Throwing for 190.8, running for 153.2, giving up 32.4 points a game, giving up 217.6 on the ground. One of the worst rush defenses you'll see in the entire country. Spartans, 32.8 points a game. throwing for 207.4, running for 140, giving up 30.6 points a game. They also have a very bad defense, but all they have to do, ground and pound. The Bruins cannot do anything to stop the run game. Look for Michigan State. Jonathan Smith, focus on that. Child's having a pretty decent season so far. He was very turnover prone last season. He's been able to keep the turnovers down this year. 9 touchdowns, 3 picks, closing in on 1,000 yards. Frazier, the game is on your shoulders. The ground and pound, the running game. Michigan State wins this one 32-20. Then on TNT at 12 p.m., 4-1 Houston Cougars coming off that loss to Texas Tech. They have their first loss of the season, but everything is still in front of them. It is still very early on. This is a really good team. Fritz has had to completely rebuild this roster through the transfer portal, and so far so good this season. They'll be on the road here versus 1-4, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And this is not Mike Gundy's team. He has been fired. They have not won a game since their first game of the season versus an FCS foe. They've been getting the crap kicked out of them every single week. It's an unfortunate thing to watch. Mike Gundy brought this team a lot of success. Now they have to find a new path forward. Cowboys 19.8% chance to win. The Cougars a 80.2% chance. Houston 14.5-point favorites, 46.5 over/under. Cougars are averaging 27.2 points a game, throwing for 199.2, running for 157.8. Very balanced offense, only giving up 17.6 points a game. Connor Wegman, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. Connors is running the ball well. They have Thomas. And for Oklahoma State, one of the worst offenses in the country, only 16.4 points per game, throwing for 175.4, running for 140.4, giving up 36.2 points a game, giving up 295 through the air, 179 on the ground. You can throw on them, you can run on them. They don't do anything particularly well. Look for Houston dominate here, get back in the win column. They win at 36-20. Fox Sports 1 at 12 p.m., 3-2. The UCF Knights. Scott Frost is back as the head coach. They got off to a very hot start. Things have come back down to earth, but if you think about it, this is his first season back. He has to completely flip this roster into his image. Might take a couple seasons. They'll be on the road versus the 4-1 Cincinnati Bearcats. How about this team coming off of upsetting top 25 Iowa State? Give this team some props. They have a very good offense, a very balanced offense. They can throw it, they can run it. The defense has been playing solid. They have a lot of momentum. Now that they upset a top 25 team, can they refocus the team? Sometimes after you upset someone, you're due for a letdown. If they can keep that momentum going, they could be an underdog, a dark horse in the Big 12 race. Cincinnati, 69.8% chance to win. The Knights, a 30.2% chance. The Bearcats, 11-point favorites, 53.5 over/under. UCF, 31.8 points a game, throwing for 222.8, running for 202.2, giving up 17.4 points a game. So far, so good for Scott Frost and the Bearcats. 39.2 points a game, throwing for 273.2, running for 205.2, almost 500 total yards of offense, giving up 20.8 points per game. Looking at the Bearcats here, Sorsby doing everything, throwing the ball, running the ball, just passing 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, 1 pick. They have Walker, they have Goody, they have a lot of weapons. They are at home in Cincinnati. I think they win this one 32-24. And on the CW network at 12 p.m., 2-3, the Stanford Cardinals. Guys, it is what it is. This might be the worst team in the ACC. They'll be on the road in Texas versus the SMU Mustangs, 3-2. SMU, 86.3% chance to win. Stanford, 13.7. SMU, Rhett Lashley, one of the better, more consistent offensive minds in college football currently. This guy knows how to build a roster through the transfer portal. He is able to perfectly nitpick the guys that he wants from other teams, seal them off the roster, build a very comprehensive team. SMU, 18.5-point favorites, 55.5 over/under. The Cardinals, 20.6 points a game, throwing for 233.4, running for 96.2. They're only averaging 20 points a game. This is not a very good offense. Can they bring that offense on the road here and try to score some points? They are giving up 29.4, 315 passing yards. I don't like that versus this SMU offense. They're averaging 34 points a game, throwing for 284. They're going to have all day back there. Just pick the Stanford secondary apart. They're running for 128. Giving up 24.8. They have Jennings, a true dual-threat quarterback. He can do a little bit of everything. Almost 1,500 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, 6 picks. He's also been known to scramble, and when he runs with purpose. He picks up massive yards on the ground. Harden closing in on 400 yards. Brinson, the transfer from Miami, closing in on 500 yards receiving. They have too many weapons. They have too much speed, and they have the better defense. SMU wins 37-27. This next matchup is a very difficult one to call. Fox at 3:30 p.m., the Big 12, 4-1 TCU. Just in the top 25 2 weeks ago. They want to win here, get to 5-1, might get back up in the top 25. They'll be on the road here versus 2-4, the Kansas State Wildcats. This was a team a lot of people were projecting to win the Big 12 this season. They are 2 games under 500. They don't look competitive at all, but they are at home. Kansas State, 42.2% chance to win. TCU, 57.8% chance. The Horned Frogs, 1.5-point favorites, 55.5 over under, 1.5 point favorites. That is practically a Vegas pick. TCU 36.8 points a game, throwing for 311.6, running for 125.6, giving up 21.4 points a game. This is Sonny Dykes, one of the best offensive minds in college football. They run the air raid. They're going to be slinging it up and down the field. Kansas State 27.5 points a game, throwing for 226.3, running for 143.3, giving up 26.8 points a game. This was un-Kansas State-like. Don't forget last season, a top 10 rushing offense in the nation, running for 220 yards every single game. The run game has been non-existent so far this season. Hoover for TCU closing on 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns, 4 picks. Barnes over 200 yards. McAllister almost 400 yards on 17 receptions. That's a crazy average. Avery Johnson for Kansas State, the highest recruited player in Kansas State history, taking a couple steps back this season, closing on 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's also the leading rusher with 209 yards. That is not good enough. They're starting running back Johnson and company. They should be closing in on 400 to 500 yards himself. Brown, he's the veteran wide receiver, 390 yards receiving. My mind tells me TCU will win this, but for some reason, I'm feeling the upset. It's in my gut. Kansas State wins this one at home. Very close game, 28-27. And how about this one? Fox Sports 1, 3:30 p.m., 3-2 Northwestern versus 3-2 Penn State Lions that are back at home. What an odd atmosphere. They lost to Oregon, the whiteout game. They went on the road to the winless Bruins. They got the crap kicked out of them. Now they're back home. This fan base, they're not going to be happy with James Franklin, but I fully expect this roster to rally around them, create a base, circle the wagons, get things back on track. Yes, you're 3-2. Yes, you went from number 2 all the way to unranked, but if you think about it, you still have the entire season in front of you. If you somehow find a way to win out, finish 10-2 out of the Big Ten, you will still make the playoffs, but it seems like that is beyond your grasp right now, guys, but it can happen. Take it game by game, but you have to play much better than when you've been playing this season. You've played like crap since week 1. You have yet to cover a spread this season, and you've only played one ranked team so far. Right now, Penn State, 90.2% chance to win. Northwestern, a 9.8% chance. Nittany Lions, 21.5 point favorites, 47.5 over-under. Northwestern, 23.6 points a game, giving up 17. Penn State, 38.6 points a game, throwing for 213.6, running for 175.4, giving up 17.8 points per game. They had a really good defense last season. They brought over Knowles, might be the best defensive mind in college football. They got to do better. Whatever they did last week, do the complete opposite this week. Drew Waller, come on, man. This is your 3rd year starting. You're like a 3rd or 4th year guy this time. You got to play a lot better. Some people thought you were going to go first round. Definitely, that is not the case right now. Great 1-2 running back combo. Allen, Singleton, Hudson, Pena. They have the weapons. They have the defense. Penn State rallies. They win this one 33-13. And another Big Ten matchup that makes for a very interesting game. The Big Ten Network, 3:30 p.m., 4-1 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Their only loss to Michigan, ranked team. If they can pull this one out, 5-1, this is a massive football brand. They might be ranked come next week. They'll be on the road here versus 4-1 the Maryland Terrapins. They also, if they win this one, 5-1 in the Big Ten, they might find themselves ranked next week. The Terrapins have a 33.3% chance to win the Cornhuskers, 66.7. Nebraska, 6.5 point favorites, 47.5 over-under. Cornhuskers, 42.4 points a game, throwing for 320.2, running for 129.2, giving up 16.2 points a game, only 91.8 yards given up to the air. This is statistically a top 3 secondary in the country. Matt Rule, you know they're going to be disciplined. You know they're going to be physical, and they have one of the best offensive minds calling play. Maryland, 30 points a game, throwing for 256.4. Loxley's team, they're always able to throw the ball, running for 93.2, giving up 13.4 points a game. Solid defense so far. Looking at the team stats, Raiola closing in on 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 picks. Johnson closing in on 500 yards. They have Barney closing in on 400. On the other side, Washington for Maryland, one of the surprises this season, closing in on 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks. I think there's going to be a very low-scoring physical line of scrimmage game. Nebraska has just enough to pull it off. The Cornhuskers win 28-20. And at 3:30 p.m. on CBS, the 1-4 Air Force Falcons, one of the more complete offenses in the country, but they just give up so many points they can't outscore the opponent. They'll be on the road versus the undefeated, the 5-0 UNLV Rebels. How about Dan Mullen, one of the best offensive minds of the last 2 decades in college football? This team is undefeated right now. Maybe it's time to start mentioning them as the representative for the group of 5 in the playoffs. I'm not saying that they need to be ranked, guys, but if they win this, 6-0 halfway through the season, even though they give up a boatload of points and they barely win the games, wins are wins. You might not be able to hold them out forever. Rebels, 85.1% chance to win. Air Force, 14.9. UNLV, 6.5-point favorite, 65.5 over-under. That is a massive over-under. Air Force, 36.4 points a game, throwing for 222.2, running for 245.6. This isn't just the triple option. They throw the ball and they do it successfully, but they're giving up 37.8 points a game. That is really bad. Rebels, 35.6 points a game, throwing for 215.8, running for 195.6, giving up 26 points a game. Zarka for Air Force, throwing for 1,000, running for 500. He does a little bit of everything. For UNLV, they have a more aggressive vertical type of passing offense. Caldrea, almost 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 picks. Thomas closing in on 500 yards on the ground. Bradley closing in on 450 through the air. UNLV, I don't trust their defense either. This game was honestly up for grabs because neither team plays defense, but I'll go with UNLV at home with the higher flying offense. They win it 37-28. It's still a shootout. Fox Sports 1, 7 p.m., 3-2, the Iowa Hawkeyes, Kirk Ferentz team, the longest tenured head coach in the country. You know what Kirk Ferentz does? They run the ball, they play special teams, they play elite top 10 defense. What they don't do is they do not have a cohesive offense. It is straight pre-World War II 1930s offense. That's what's held them back a lot of seasons. They could have been a playoff caliber team for years if they just had an offense who could move the ball and get first downs. They don't do it, but still a very talented team. Never underestimate their physicality. They punch well above their weight class. They'll be on the road versus the 2-3 Wisconsin Badgers. Luke Fickell, you know that chair, it's on fire right now. The Badgers, 37.4 points a game. Iowa, 62.6. Hawkeyes, 3.5-point favorites, 36 over-under. Iowa's averaging 29.4, throwing for 148.6, running for 178.8, giving up 15.6 points a game, only 69.4 on the ground. They own the line of scrimmage. That's what they do. Very physical team. Wisconsin, 18.6 points a game. Fickell, that is not going to cut it, throwing for 200, running for 109.2, giving up 19.8 points per game. O'Neal, doesn't matter who their quarterback is, they've been going between both of them. It's not going to cut it here versus this suffocating Hawkeyes defense. Gronowski, they were saying he was going to be able to throw the ball for Iowa. I told everyone, you are crazy if you think no matter who the quarterback is, Ferentz is not going to let them throw the ball. He's closing in on 650 yards. He's been the starter the entire season. They just don't do it. Iowa, nonetheless, the defense leads the way. They're able to run the ball. They win it 23-17. In our second to last game at 7:30 p.m. on the ACC Network, 2-3, the Clemson Tigers. We've had a couple teams booted out of the top 25 just in the last couple weeks. Clemson is one of them. Started out the season, number 4? Now they're unranked, 2-3. Things aren't looking good, but they're coming off a win versus Bill Belichick's UNC. Can they get some momentum here? They'll be on the road versus 1-4 Boston College. This is Bill O'Brien. They've just beaten Bill Belichick. Can they beat his old offensive coordinator? Clemson, 75.1% chance to win. Boston College, a 24.9% chance. Tigers, 14-point favorites, 54.5 over-under. Clemson, this offense, year 3 with Garrett Riley was supposed to be a lot better than here. Clay Gumming last year, 37 touchdowns, 6 picks. He's nowhere near that right now. They're averaging 23.4, throwing for 279, running for 110.8, giving up 20.2 points a game. Boston College, 31.4, throwing for 313.4, running for 85. They have to find some more balance. You need the run game to open up that play action, and they're giving up 31.6 points a game. Klubnik, he's got to get things back on track. Almost 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 picks. Randall has to continue to stay hot. Their running game has been up and down this entire season. When it's down, it's completely non-existent. They have to make it a lot more common, keep it more consistent. Very talented wide receiver core. Wesco closing in on 500 yards. I think Clemson owns this game. They win it. It's never in doubt. They pull away with the dub, 37-23. Then our final game, Fox Sports 1, 9:45, a late one. We have the 3-2 New Mexico Lobos on the road versus the 3-2 Boise State Broncos. Started out the season number 25 in our top 25 rankings. What happened was they've lost 2 games. Both those teams are currently ranked. They've lost to Notre Dame this past weekend. That's a good loss. They lost to South Florida, who is also currently ranked. So, yes, those teams are ranked, but nonetheless, you haven't lost to a non-top 25 team. If you continue to win out, you can still have a very strong season. Boise, 80% chance to win. New Mexico, 20% chance. The Broncos, 16.5-point favorites. 59.5 over-under. New Mexico's averaging 30. Throwing for 242, running for 154, giving up 24.2 points a game. Boise State, 32.2 points a game. Throwing for 282.2, running for 196.8. Almost 500 yards of team offense, giving up 25.4 points a game. What is in the Broncos' favors here is New Mexico gives up almost 272 passing yards per game. There will be opportunities to push the ball down the field. Matson, he's a veteran at the quarterback position, closing on 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 picks. Just keep the turnovers down. Riley, he's not Ashton Gentry, but nonetheless, he's still having some success running the ball, closing in on 400 yards. I think Boise has just enough offense, and they are at home. They win it 33-24. Guys, that's our breakdown, our picks, our predictions for all of our non-top 25 matchups. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, drop them below. Do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts on these games? Who do you think is going to win them? Leave it in the comment section. If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, check out that pinned comment down below. Click on that link. You can sign up there, and I would definitely appreciate it. Of course, as always, thank you for watching.